For your second triangle, let's do a cool color scheme. I want to show you all the greens that I do have just to show you the light greens versus the medium tones of greens and then the darker greens. I'm going to try to find a lighter green for the light area that I'm going to blend with my light blue and then the dark blue. If you have a 8-pack of colored pencils, you can just use the green that you have, blue that you have, and a purple. If you do have more color options, then if you pick a light shade of green and then a little bit darker green, but it's still more on the light side, then it's going to add more variety in your tonal shifts. So this gradient is going to be more visually appealing. So you can see that with the light green to the medium green, light blue, and then a little bit darker blue, I've got a really nice transition all the way through that gradient of cool colors. Again, depending on what colored pencils you have, make the green you have, the blue you have, and maybe even a purple you have work. Potentially even changing your pencil pressure for the blue if you want to make it a medium shade to then a darker shade. I would suggest again working from light into dark, going from the light area on the outside and then working your way to the darkest color that you have and shading it with more pressure to look like the inside of the triangle is in shadow. Remember, when you're first starting out, you want to apply with a very light pencil pressure, and then you're building up those layers gradually, blending in the other colors, and then medium pressure and then harder pressure to get a nice blended finish to the entire gradient scale that you have. Don't be afraid to overlap your color layers. You want the light green to start to go into your medium tone of green, and you want that medium tone of green to go into the light green area and also your blues. And then if you're using multiple blues, you want them to go into the green area and also into the darker blue area. This will create really nice transitions for our eye, and it'll also help blend all the colors to look smooth as they blend from one color into the next and so on. There you go, second Penrose triangle complete. Check your dark areas of blue, see if it's dark enough. If you want to try adding some unexpected color, you could pair orange. It's a contrast to blue, so it will deepen that shadow. You could also use a red in that area as well. I'm not going to do that because I like the way that that blue turned out really dark with my pencil pressure, so I'm gonna leave it as is. When you get to your third and final triangle, you get to pick any color palette that you would like. And I want to specify a color palette is a choice of colors that you're using. It could be a color scheme, could be based on color theory. However, this one does not need to be from a color family, which is the color scheme. So I decided to pick a palette of a variety of pinks and purples. You can feel free to follow along with this if you would like, or again, pick your own color palette. So I would suggest that you do stick with the analogous colors you do have available because they will harmonize well since they sit next to each other on the color wheel. Or maybe pick a variety of shades that you have of one color. Whatever you do decide to do, I would just recommend that you set your colored pencils out and organize them from the lightest shades you have of the colors you're picking to the dark, and then work from light to dark in whichever direction you choose. I did get really excited about this purple and pink palette because I'm really digging magenta right now. And I didn't start with the darker color on the inside of the triangle. I went in with the light, and I wish I would have done the darks on the inside, but I decided to just move forward with this as is and work it how it turns out. That's all right. It ended up being a fun little experiment, and I learned from this experience what I would do differently the next time if I did this color palette. I did notice that these light pink and pink shaded pencils and these purple tones did take a little bit longer to build up. So I did add many layers, as you can see, and then once I'm starting to get closer to them being more completely blended together in the look that I want, I am using a more hard pressure and blending them again in the last layer. If you have a white pencil, try using it to blend your colors in for the very last layer. I did use a colorless blender to smooth out that purple area. A white pencil will produce a similar effect, so you won't have any grainy spots left.